Everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to our American Gods Season 2, Episode 3 Thoughts video. I just finished watching Episode 3, and I'm just going to be sharing my general thoughts after I've just finished watching this episode. So if you haven't seen it, you probably want to tune out, because I'm going to be spoiling a lot of stuff that happens in the episode, just as I talk about my general thoughts. So yeah, I just finished watching this episode, and in this episode we see, as he is tracked by Mr. World, Shadow makes his way to Cairo, thanks to a ride from Sam Blackcrow. Mr. Wednesday gains Laura's help in forging a powerful alliance, and Mr. World introduces Technical Boy to new media and assigns them an important task. So yeah, this episode was really enjoyable because Shadow is no longer in captive, but he was also left behind by Wednesday. Wednesday just decided to leave him behind, and I guess let him hitchhike his way back to Anubis and Ibis's place. So I thought that was a little bit interesting, but it gave us a chance to meet Sam Blackcrow, which I guess she helped Shadow see a different perspective on a couple things, but it seemed like very kind of, I feel like she's definitely coming back in this season. We spent too much time with her in this episode for her to just be a one-off. I feel like it just doesn't feel right. I feel like she's definitely coming back into play into this show for something. I don't know what, but I feel like she's coming back. I don't know why though. But yeah, it's just because of the amount of time we spend with her. But yeah, this episode was fun. I always love these episodes. But this one I particularly like. We get Laura and Wednesday hanging out pretty much the whole episode, and them kind of, going back and forth with the fact that, Wednesday knows everything, like literally knows everything there is to know about Laura, and Laura is having a little hard time, believing that and accepting that, because she's like that. She just doesn't. She both believes and doesn't believe in these things. It's weird. She's back from the dead, but she still has trouble believing that, Wednesday has that he's actually God. It's weird when it comes to Laura's character, but she ends up, killing somebody and getting her heart beating again. So now I guess she's kind of back for a little bit, because Wednesday said that'll keep her going for a bit. I don't know if that's permanent or not, but we'll see as we go forward. But it's still interesting to see those two kind of shed a little light on, a little bit more on Laura's future, like what her plans are, and a little bit on Wednesday, and you see how much he can manipulate just anybody into what he wants. So it was ridiculous. A fun character that was both introduced and killed in this episode was Argus. I thought that was an interesting concept of, the god of surveillance, and the fact that Wednesday doesn't get along with him and had to kill him too. Wednesday's seriously just murdering up all these gods, even if they're even like little in the middle. It's just, he's sending a message. He's definitely the god of war. There's no doubt about that. He's just kicking ass. But yeah, that was an interesting part to this, because I didn't think that's where this was going. But yeah, another cool thing was that we see Betty, the car, immediately gets reincarnated right at the beginning of the episode. At the end of last episode, he put in front of a train to sacrifice it, and that just derailed the train, got Laura all limbed up, like delimbed. She had to be sewed up by Ibis, which was fun. Ibis tells us another story about the Greek gods, Zeus, and one of his many lovers, and a little story about that. I can't remember the exact story, but it was fun to get Ibis telling another story in this season. Since last season he narrated a few of the stories that we got, like little origin stories that we got within the different episodes. Not origin, I don't know if that's the right word, but little folk tales, I guess, that he told during it that showed like how each of the gods had come to America and stuff like that. So I didn't even realize until watching this episode and he started telling a story that we hadn't gotten that up to this point with the first two episodes. So I'm curious to see if going forward he's going to be telling any more stories, because we haven't gotten any of those kind of flashback things that we got in the first season, which I really enjoyed. But I'm curious if that was just to kind of help set up the idea of this, and now we're kind of past that. So I'm curious to see where that goes. But yeah, and then we get the introduction of a new character, new media, which I thought was an interesting concept. I talked about this in one of the last videos about how I'm pretty sure Gillian Anderson, if that's her name, I keep forgetting like that, the one who played media in the last season, I believe she just probably didn't want to come back, and that's why they had to come up with new media, or new media was always a character they were planning to do. Either way, I enjoyed her introduction. I thought she made sense. I was just like, yeah, she fits in as the new media, with Twitter and YouTube and Instagram and all this fun stuff that I'm a part of, and we're all a part of, and definitely, we're all a little bit of her disciples. So I thought that was an interesting way, especially to introduce her too, with her and Technical Boy kind of going off to do this task, which involved Argus, who was the god of surveillance. So those two have a little moment. It's very American Gods is the best way to describe it. And do not let your kids see that scene. you'll have to explain some things that you might not be prepared to explain to them, that you might want to wait for, sex ed. But nonetheless, that was still enjoyable seeing that new character introduced. I'm curious again to see where she goes from here. Another part that I just really enjoyed about this episode, just to round off my thoughts, was that Sweeney's Luck is still garbage without that coin, and I just love these little bits of him just trying to do everyday things and just nothing working out for him. Trying to start a car, getting attacked by a dog. Granted, he stole that car, or was trying to steal that car, but then him trying to take the boat, and the boat lights on fire, and then he ends up on a bus full of a Christian rock group. So it's just, his luck is just nowhere to be found whatsoever. Well, we know where it is. It's in Laura's chest. But I just really enjoyed those scenes where we see that how much he really does need that coin. Otherwise, he's got no luck at all. But yeah, those are all my thoughts for this episode of American Gods. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what you thought about this episode. Thanks again for joining me today. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Have a good one.